Hey there, and welcome to the Alive and Unbothered podcast. I'm your host, Cherie Linnell, your mental freedom coach and mentor, and I'm sharing short, actionable strategies every week to help you activate an unbothered mind, transcending depression, transforming your life. Hey there, friends. In today's episode, I'm sharing with you how I recognize criticism as a trigger to activate my bipolar behaviors and how it made my journey to being alive and unbothered possible. Now, for a long time in my relationships, if I was met with any type of criticism, I was being a person who would, like on a dime, switch moods to being defensive, confrontational, passive aggressive, and holding grudges just to be angry at the world. Even the smallest slight, I was, being a person who has a lack of emotional control and unable to think in a clear and sensible way. Now, the thing is, I wasn't aware of the switching as a bipolar mental illness at the time. I got along with being this way as just who I am. And I share this part of my journey in part one of the Fast Journey to Mental Freedom episode, so you can hear more about it there. But I bring it up here now, I bring it up here to give you some context of how I came to realize through research, therapy, and coaching that my bipolar symptoms are triggered when my ego or sense of self is bruised in some way. It didn't matter if the criticism was external or came through my own stinking thinking. In my mind, the story of me was being challenged and I would become unhinged over it. So, what is criticism exactly? Well, I like to be clear on the words I use, so I went to the literal definition of the root word critic, which is one who expresses a reasoned opinion on any matter, especially involving a judgment of its value, truth, righteousness, beauty, or technique. And criticism is the act of criticizing, usually unfavorably. So, in not so many words, criticism is simply someone else's point of view on an issue. And someone else's point of view is simply that, their point of view, and it belongs to them. It's a glimpse into their thought process on the matter. Now, although it's their opinion, you'll likely consider it to affect change in you, and from there you can do one of two things. You could take it or leave it with them with gratitude for sharing it with you. I've seen this play out well for other people, like like my friend Shannon Hernandez. She's a friend and a colleague of mine. And she has this saying that I absolutely love, and she shared it with us in her online community that, if someone is giving her an opinion that she doesn't like or, that just doesn't sit well with her, she returns to sender. Like when you receive a piece of mail you didn't ask for. So, like, you mark your letter or package in big letters, return to the sender, drop it off in the mail, and you go about your day. You don't take it personally because it is just what it is, mail you didn't ask for. And in contrast, this mail you didn't ask for could be the next best thing that happened to you since pancakes, and you take it with joy. Criticism is so much like that. So, what does this look like in my life? Well, in the not so distant past, my husband and I would have huge arguments. I mean, huge. When he'd give me an opinion that went against my story of self, and I would totally blow up in defense mode at him, my kids, my neighbors, or anyone else in my path. Um, and that would be my state of mind for like weeks or even longer than that. It was hard to recover, or other words, get over it. And I would be overwhelmed with guilt and shame over the aftermath of my behavior, as the impact of it stirred everyone up and caused a domino effect of tense conversations between us. Fast forward to a to a situation recently when another one of these conversations began. I had I had covered my hair up in a scarf. Sounds silly, but I had covered my hair up in a scarf because I didn't feel like fixing my hair. And my husband didn't think it looked good. Well, instead of taking my default stance of taking his opinion and telling him off, I paused. I said nothing. And he said it looked like I was sitting, like I was setting up to blow up. But what I was really doing, and I explained to him, what I was really doing was that I was taking in what he said and filtering it so that I can digest it. It was in that moment of pause that I could make the choice to take his criticism or leave it with gratitude for sharing it. So I chose the latter and thanked him for his opinion and kept on the scarf. There was no fight. There were no hard feelings. It felt good on both sides. So the takeaway from this is that, we don't have to take someone else's point of view, their judgments, and the like, and indoctrinate them. We get the final say in who we are being. When you recognize your sense of self as being negatively impacted by criticism, you can remind yourself that it doesn't belong to you and affirm your mental freedom in being alive and unbothered. There is so much freedom in the knowledge that we have choices in how we experience relationships. And if we stop taking criticism or any type of opinions personally, we get to experience giving and receiving unconditional love, understanding, and compassion in our relationships. And we get to be completely expressed in how we are being. And for those of us with mental illnesses, this might seem like a tall order. And I get it because it wasn't exactly easy for me to get to this point. I had a lot of resistance to ideas because having a mental illness presents challenges in thinking. But I'm here to show you that it is possible to have a new way of being about it. It's possible to live your life completely alive and unbothered. Until next time, I will talk with you later. I love you all. Goodbye. Thank you for listening to the Alive and Unbothered podcast. For more about this episode, please head over to sherrylinnell.com/podcast for notes, transcript, and bonus materials. Thanks again for tuning in. Hit the subscribe button, share with your peeps, and until next time, live your life fully alive and unbothered.